from Bee's Crafty Corner. And I wanted to do a torn book page pocket, you know? Just, you know, a torn pocket that's made from book pages, you know? And the first one came out like this, and I was like, it's a little big, let me make it a little bit smaller. So I tried making it a little bit smaller, and it came out all wonky, which is still cool. I mean, this is still cool, but it's not what I was looking for, okay? So I said, this sucks, remake it. And so I did, and I came up with this one instead. So this is the one I'm going to show you how to do. Because that's bulky, that's awkward, this is at least streamlined, okay? If you want to know what I did to do this, let me know and I'll put the video up, because I did record it, I just don't like it, okay? So this is the one we're going to be doing. I'm going to get a list of supplies and I'll be right back. Let's take a look at supplies. Bone folder, paper trimmer, glue, not tape, okay? Ink. Now, let's look at the rest of this. Music paper, dyed book pages, journal paper, just some vintage paper, something with pretty pictures on it. You can use modern paper, modern books, but make sure that there's nothing, you know, read it, okay? You don't want to put something that's, see, like this, gaze down at the woman's flaccid corpse. You don't want that on there, okay? And then some copy paper. That's all this is, just copy paper, okay? So that's really all we're going to want. I'm going to get some things out of the way, move the cutter over. I'll be back in a second, and we'll go ahead and get started cutting this down and breaking down the parts. I'll be right back. All right, and away we go. So first things first, we're going to cut our strips. The original piece is 3 1/4. So when you put glue on either side, you've got at least 2 3/4 in the middle for a tag or your journal cards and stuff, which is a pretty decent size. So 3 1/4. And I cut 2 sheets at the same time. That way, every time I cut, I'm making 1 pocket. So 2 sheets of paper just gave me 3 pockets, okay? So now that I have those cut, we're going to talk about the book, or the paper that you choose. You could use music paper if you want. That is an option. I have one that I was working on. Children's books. As long as it's not glossy, you can use it, okay? So I think, let's see, how long are these? Perfect. So you want something that's about 7 inches. That's a good size for this. So I'm going to grab a couple of these out of here. And these are from Darkwood Sanctuary. Hags does those. So we're going to grab these, and I'm going to cut this down to 3 1/4 as well. So 3 1/4 on this as well. And then I'm going to save that because that's good for, you know, decoupage and stuff. But I have my pages now, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking my pages, and I'm just going to be gluing them down to my paper. So the first one I'm going to glue down. Here's how I'm going to do this. Ready? Tear it in half. And then I'm going to glue this down. Okay. Now, when I glue this down, I'm actually going to glue it down about 1/8 of an inch or so from the top of the paper. Just like that. And then I'm going to put this piece to the side because we're going to use that later, okay? And then we're going to kind of repeat that process with this. We're going to tear it in half, and we're going to glue it down, giving it some space between the top and the next one, okay? It will all make sense, I promise you. Again, I'm leaving about 1/8 of an inch or so at the top. And then I'm going to glue this one at the bottom. Leaving space. Okay? Then I'm going to tear that in half. So you should have one piece in half, and one piece that's not glued to anything, okay? Once you have all of that and they are dry, come back and we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so on the original piece, I kind of had them all going in one direction. You don't have to do that. You can have them go the other way. You can have them just torn straight across. And I think this one we're going to do straight. Okay? So I'm going to take the first one and I'm just going to tear it towards the top, straight across. Just like that. I'm going to do the same thing to this one. And to this one. Okay? So once I have that all done, I'm going to cut off these bottom pieces. I don't need them. And it doesn't have to be perfect because it's not going to show. All right? So now we have that. So now the next step in our process here is going to be to ink this. So get out your ink, get out your dauber, and you're going to ink this one, and this one. Not that one. Okay, I'll be right back. All right, so I have my pieces inked, ready to go. So the next step here is to start building my pocket. So all I'm going to do is just put a very thin line of glue right along my edge, not the bottom, just the edges, okay? And then I'm going to decide where I want this to be. And I'm going to glue it down. Now, you still have, it's still open, so this back pocket goes all the way down. I'm going to do the same thing with the next one. A little bit of glue on either side, decide how far down I want this to be. And I don't want these to be precise because it's supposed to look like a torn book, you know. All right, so now for the next one, we're going to bring this up, and if you need to take some off, take it off. Just kind of decide where you want it to be. How deep do you want this pocket to be? I don't want it quite that deep. I'm going to take a little bit off the bottom, about 1/2 inch. Bring this up. That's better. Now I'm going to glue this down to this and then tear it and ink it. So let's get this glued down. So I'm going to put glue on the paper from my fold line. On the back. Then I'm going to make sure that I have my right side going up. And I'm going to glue that on there. Okay. Now once I have it on, I can glue this piece to the back or cut it off, entirely up to you. And then I'm going to tear my front. And if you have a tearing ruler, have a blast. If you don't, just tear it. All right? Ink. And then I'm going to glue this down. Just on the edges. And this, when we fold it up, is what's going to create the bottom of our pocket. And now I'm going to ink the whole thing just to make it cohesive, so I didn't miss anything. And then I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to press this all down. Okay? And if I need to add glue, I will add glue. And I'll tell you why. Because sometimes glue does not adhere well to book paper, because the paper is very porous. Okay? So there I have it, my book pocket. If I want this more, I can make it more. If I want it less, I can make it less. Entirely up to me. But that's it. That's my little project for today. If you're new here and you haven't done so already, hit the button for me and subscribe. It doesn't hurt, doesn't, you know, it's not painful, doesn't cost you anything. It's free. Just makes a fat lady happy. Let's see, what else? Check out the community tab while you're here, or skip on over to my YouTube, my Facebook group. There's a link to that in the description below. And there's all kinds of great stuff over there. Some fantastic people in that community. Very, very supportive, very wonderful people. Let's see, what else? That's it. Till I see you again, stay well, my friends. Bye-bye.